找朋友的歌，好吧？1、2、3、4、5、6、7，我的朋友在哪里？在这里，在这里，我的朋友在这里，很好。Hey guys, it's Lillian, and I wanted to chat with you guys about Chinese lessons that we're giving my daughter. I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is still coming back. I did lose my voice last week, and it's about, I think, day 2, day 3 of actually being able to talk again, and I can't quite sing yet, but I figured we would sit down and show you what we've been doing with our daughter. 这个是什么颜色？
粉红色。
这是什么颜色？
红色。
很好，这是什么颜色？橘色。1、
2、3、4、5。
She is almost 4. She's still 3 years old, and we decided that we needed to start being more diligent with teaching her Chinese and Spanish. So you may know already that I'm Chinese and I grew up speaking Chinese. Chinese was my first language, and my husband grew up speaking Spanish. And when we went to this Chinese New Year celebration, it really hit me hard. Like, you know, I really need to start teaching my daughter, and I don't speak enough with her, so we decided to get her a Chinese tutor.
哪一个是苹果？记住有绿色的苹果哦。对了，绿色的苹果，好棒哦！我们把苹果放在这里。好的，接下来是橙子。橙子。
A lot of people are like, well, why don't you just wait until she's old enough to go to Chinese school? Well, I really feel like they're really not taking advantage of their child's ability to learn at the age of 3 by waiting until they're 5 to enter Chinese school. I was hoping that they had some sort of Chinese-speaking toddler play group and things like that that she could participate in, but they don't, and they don't accept anyone until the child turns 5. So we still have another more than a year before she can start going to Chinese school. So we found a tutor. Our daughter is absolutely loving it. So she loves the teacher, who we call her auntie in Chinese. It's kind of more familial for her to call a friend who's my age auntie. So she calls her auntie in Chinese, which is 阿姨. And she goes and she learns the colors and the numbers. She's learning how they sound, how to say them, and also how to write them.
对。你喜欢先把它写完再写中间的，要留着最下面这个最后写哦。要先写竖横折撇捺，最后才写后面的哦。You leave the end, the one underneath at the very last bit, okay? Some lights. 我开个灯，这样子对眼睛好。好棒！写得好认真哦，珍珠，很棒哦。
She's doing a lot of playing with these. Like she'll play with the toys, like fruits and vegetables or food toys, and the teacher will just keep talking to her about pointing and saying, and a lot of it is repetition.
现在我们又要去买东西了。好，现在我们来说，我要买草莓。哪一个是草莓？草莓。
草莓。
Does that look like 草莓？草莓 strawberry。哪一个是草莓？耶！记住这个就是草莓。
草莓。
好的。
I hope that she'll feel more confident and ready to start Chinese school when she hits age 5. But let's just talk a moment about why it's important to be learning a second or a third language and why start now. It's teaching children critical thinking skills. Like when you learn a language, you learn that there are rules to the language and exceptions and patterns to a language. And as you learn those rules and you're using them and you're figuring out the next word and the next pattern or the definition, you're using critical thinking skills, which children at age 3 are able to pick up.
这个你知道了。
1、2、
很好。
3。
很好。
It's teaching them memorization. It's exercising that muscle. So your brain is kind of like a muscle where if you use it, then you get better at it. And if you don't use it, then you get worse. So as your brain, a 3-year-old's brain, they're learning English and they're learning numbers and they're learning drawing and singing. They can also be learning languages that's exercising another part of their brain. And teaching them how to memorize words and sounds, etc.
所以这是什么东西？这是什么？
狗、
不是，这是
猫、
猫。这个是
狗、
狗、
鸟、
鸟。花，很好。
So Felipe mentioned that when you learn a different language, you also kind of learn the culture behind that language because of the kind of literature that you're learning the language from. For example, the literature that you would read from or learn Latin from tends to have cultural values that are Roman behind them, and a lot of them are very distinctly Western civilization, honor, integrity, and virtue. And so if you're teaching a child Latin, they're also going to be learning kind of like the literature behind it, and then that'll teach them about the culture of that language. And similarly with Chinese, we have 4-letter poems, and I guess in Japanese you have like, I think they're 5-syllable haikus. Well, in Chinese there are 4 word poems, and a lot of these poems are teaching the values of Chinese values, so filial piety and passing down culture, honor, and sacrifice. So she would be learning the culture behind the Chinese language, and then there's culture behind Spanish language that I'm not that familiar with, but Felipe will be able to tell you guys more about. The earlier you start, the better. Like from birth, they should be hearing the words that you want to teach them in multiple languages. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that'll delay their speech or that'll delay their learning of English. Well, let me tell you, I didn't speak English until I went to kindergarten, which I was 5 years old. So I spoke Chinese because both my parents spoke Chinese. And guess what? Today, I have no Chinese accent. My English is like I'm a complete native, which I am because I was born in America. But it didn't delay me in learning the language, really. It didn't delay me in my pronunciation or my speech, my inflection. So I think learning multiple languages, or at least a second language at a very young age, is most beneficial. Hopefully, since we're starting now, she's still 3 years old, she's been very excited about learning Chinese, and we plan on getting her a Spanish tutor. And then we also know that there are some local like toddler playgroups that teach French and Spanish. So I intend to find them. I haven't found them yet, but I think that it'll really, really help our daughter use her brain in different ways, different capacities, and then that it'll instill within her some of the values that I grew up with and Felipe grew up with. And then also, we love to teach Latin, we love to learn Latin, so she'll be learning that as well.
苹果，
苹果、
很棒。橙子，
橙子、
耶，香蕉，
香蕉、
草莓，
草莓、
哪一个是苹果？耶！
If you guys are bringing up a child, a young child, if you just had a baby, I think you should definitely be thinking about how to expose them to different languages. There are like preschool language schools that just expose them to nursery rhymes and poems and games and books, all in different languages, so they're hearing it, they're playing with it, and it's very fun, exciting, and it's not going to confuse them later on. It's really helping them build this idea of language and how language works, and it's working that language muscle in their brain. So be sure to make sure that your child learns a second language. All right, bye.